I'm Novak. And if you're like me and you live in an area of the world that has winter and snow, well, snow clearing is part of your regular experience. And there's lots of ways to clear snow. You've got your typical traditional shovels, which we've all used many a time. If you have a larger property, you may even have a large snow blower. But there's also sort of something in between. For example, there are also power snow shovels, which are basically motorized shovels that do the work for a traditional one, but aren't as large as a snowblower. Now, with power shovels, there are corded ones, but there are also battery-powered ones, such as what I have here. This is the Toro 60V cordless power shovel, and it's something I'm going to review and take a look to see whether this is the right device, the right choice for those who don't love shoveling, want something mechanical, but don't really want to go as large as getting a full-blown snowblower. Before I go any further, I want to make a quick little disclaimer. I'm doing this review because I was approached by Toro through their PR firm to do this review, as I've done other Toro products, and this was sent to me. It's a product I get to keep should I want to, but it's important to know that I have not been paid by Toro or their PR firm to conduct this review, and all opinions expressed in this review are my own alone, and are not subject to any prior approval or review. When you pick it up and take it home, assembly is not overly difficult. This is the box that it comes in, and it was largely intact. You had to actually, making it into a smaller size box, the two parts of the metal shaft did have to be clipped together. The biggest challenge, however, for putting these together was with this handle here. It actually is two pieces that you have to actually take apart and then reassemble again around the shaft. And it was a real pain in the butt, because you've got to use Allen keys, and you could see the holes for the Allen keys are on the inside of the handle, and it was a very tiresome, long, and laborious process. I'm sure that when it was fused together in the factory, it was done by a machine, so it was really tight, and Allen keys are a pain in the butt to use. My biggest suggestion for Toro is if you could find a way just to keep this maybe in a separate bag in two parts, so I don't have to unscrew it apart and then put it together again. It probably would save several minutes and a lot of aggravation, but that's the only really hard part about assembling it. Now, as for the battery does go in here in the top section. It's just like most of their Toro products. It is the 135 60V battery, 2.5 amp hours, 135 watts. Slide it in on the track. Here it's snap and shut. Remove it again. Open it up, push the button, and it's out. Simple enough. You'll get about 45 minutes of use per charge, and it takes about an hour or so, probably a little bit less depending upon temperature conditions to fully charge from empty. So how does this work? Well, you've got basically a rotating plastic head which moves in a forward direction, and it basically gathers around the back and throws it again out the front. They say, according to Toro, that this will clear about 6 inches worth of snow and throw it up to 25 feet. So I haven't had that much snow to work with. In fact, I've just been using this on maybe an inch or so at most, but they do say it can clear 6 inches. The other thing to keep in mind, though, is it only throws it forward. There are no side vents, so you don't have the ability to direct where the snow is being put, unlike, say, a snowblower or even a shovel where you could lift it and brush it off to the side. So keep that in mind, and I'd say that especially if you have an area where it's like a driveway where it's maybe long and not as wide. I think I would recommend shoveling it side to side because of that, since if you're throwing it, say, 10, 12, 15, 20 feet forward, and you still got that length, you're basically just going to be clearing what you've already thrown. It's almost like a game of snow clearing leapfrog or something like that. This is for smaller spaces, urban areas, so if you have neighbors around, you might want to just be cognizant of where it's throwing. Actually, I've discovered too in using this, be mindful of the wind. So if you want to try and throw that way, but the wind is coming back at you, just be mindful. You're probably going to get a little spray. So with the battery attached, and the blade here, it is simply a two trigger mechanism. You get your safety and your start, your kill switch, hold to the handle, and away it goes. Let's see how this thing works. So there are 2 speeds that you can operate this at. This is the low speed, and it seems to throw pretty well even at low speed. And if I move it to a higher speed, like this, well, the travel is even that much further. Okay, now that I've had a chance to finally use this Toro cordless 60-volt power shovel, I'm able to give you my thoughts. It actually took me a long time to get this done. This was sent to me back in November, and it's taken me until the Christmas break to finally get snow, or enough of it, to actually get this thing to work. And that's maybe a comment more on climate change, but that's for another video. I'll do it another time. That being said, how does this work? Well, it does do the job it claims it says to do, and that it clears the snow pretty well. I found that if a size property such as mine that has sidewalk and a single driveway, or even a double, this is fine. If you have a bigger property, clearly a snowblower is what you want. If you have a smaller, really tiny urban property, you know, maybe just stick with a regular shovel, because this isn't perfect. The one thing that I did find, my biggest complaint about it, is that it's heavy and awkward to use. I went onto the Toro website and their spec page, and I couldn't actually find what the overall weight of this product is. It wasn't published, but my guess is it's probably about 20 pounds. It's heavy on the bottom with the actual shovel itself, and the battery. Now the battery I know is about 2.5 pounds, but overall it does create a bit of an awkward thing to hold. So while it works, you've got to bear that in mind, that it is going to be a bit of a physical strain as well. So that's just something to consider if you're looking at a product such as this. It's also a little bit awkward on uneven surfaces. So like, for example, on the sidewalk when I was using it, with each sidewalk block, you know, sidewalks become uneven over time, and I would find that if I couldn't see it, it would jam. You know, shoveling is the same way, but it was a bit abrupt, and that was a bit of an awkward thing as well. But overall, this is an effective tool. It's great because it's interchangeable with all the other Toro 60-volt equipment. So if you have your battery for your lawnmower or your trimmer or your blower, the interchangeability of this is great. So, I mean, if you have that equipment already, just buy this, because luckily you can buy this with a battery or without, since it's an interchangeable system. And overall, I did like it. It's interesting to use. It's for the right people. This will be something you'll enjoy. But that's it for this review of the Toro 60-volt cordless power shovel. For EnviroDad.com, I'm Eric Novak. Thanks for watching. There's plenty of ways for you to keep connected with me, so check out some of my social media links, suggested videos, and you know, I'd really love it if you subscribe to my YouTube channel.